recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to ZedGames.
ZedGames brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at ZedGames AU.
Hey, hey, hey. Right, I don't know what that was, but I'm Maylee, and I'm here on 4ZZZ for ZedGames. Am I in the studio with people or strange creatures?
Just strange echoes.
Yes to all.
Oh, there's people and creatures. Okay.
Yes. I'm Paul.
And I'm Tom.
Just leaving a very dramatic pause. And
I'm Tom. Yeah, just filling in for a seat.
You just have a seat these days.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's good to be here.
You're no longer Tom from Netherworld. You're Tom from ZedGames.
How good are video games?
Some are good. One of... Google gobble, Google gobble.
Some video games are...
Mostly very good.
Yeah. As a genre, as a collective group,
as an art form,
like
this is a
10.
riveting takedown of the industry. So they're very good video games. Anyway, we're in a mood. Controversial claim. Well, there are some bad
board
video
games. 8 out of 10.
Name 10 right now.
Final Fantasy.
Depending on which one you're referring to, that could be correct.
Paul's opinions are his own and do not represent.
Oh, was this supposed to be bad games? Oh, sorry, I thought it was just name 10 video games. I'm like,
okay.
I thought you just wanted to make enemies.
I have my ups and my downs in the series, like all of us. You know, Crystal Chronicles #1, as everyone agrees.
Yeah. Let's get the Game Boy Advance Link cable out.
Yeah, that is the only way to play. Game Boy Advance Link cable available on eBay and cash converters.
I think we're in too silly of a mood, so I think we should get some news in here and
I hope it's depressing and really brings us down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what it could
who's
be?
bringing us the news this week, Maylee?
I am.
Sweet.
Let's go.
Hey, wake up. It's time for Doom. Less than a month after Nintendo released Alamo, its official alarm clock, Gary Odenix got it to run the iconic 90s shooter Doom. While the audio currently doesn't work, it otherwise runs surprisingly well for being played on a clock. And yeah, it's impressive, but it's just another one on the long list of strange devices people have played Doom on, including a calculator, an ultrasound machine, a pregnancy test, and even within other games, so maybe Alamo isn't that weird. 600 workers that make up the Times Tech Guild, the union representing the New York Times tech staff, are striking against labor law violations and a campaign of intimidation. They are asking people to support them by not playing any New York Times games, like Wordle or Connections, and avoid using other services like the New York Times cooking app. The union states they've tried hard to avoid a strike, but after many rounds of negotiations got them nowhere, they were left with no choice but to demonstrate the power of their labor on the picket line. Nintendo 3DS servers are finally down. Well, they were technically offline in early April, but a few people have managed to hang on until now. The very last of which was FishGuy6564, who used a bot to stay connected for an additional 210 days before it crashed this Monday the 4th. A photo of the error message was shared with the simple caption, "It's over. Rest in peace, Nintendo Network." In other Nintendo news, the company is looking to the future after confirming that the Switch 2 will be revealed by the end of March 2025. Additionally, they confirmed that any Nintendo Switch software will function on the successor, and that the Nintendo Switch online service will carry over between consoles. More details about the compatibility are on the way, but when exactly is anybody's guess. For now at least, anyone with a big Switch game library can breathe a little easier. And we have some upcoming game releases. November 8th sees the release of Proximate, all capitals, on the PC, as well as Two Falls on the PC. On November 12th, Farming Simulator 25 releases to the PC, Mac, PS5 and Xbox Series X. Also on November 12th, Tetris Forever releases on the PC, PS5, Switch, and Xbox. Finally, on November 14th, the Dragon Quest III remake releases on the Switch. And that's all this week in gaming news. Back to you, Maylee. Thanks, Maylee. No problem, Maylee, anytime. Oh, you're the best, Maylee. With all the news. Oh, thanks, Maylee, for that news.
Yeah, it was okay.
There's some good news.
Maylee was all right, but Maylee was great. But Maylee, what a trash fire.
I like past Maylee. But anyway,
Ouch. Ouch. A lot of hostility in the studio tonight, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, so Nintendo Switch Online, sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's around. It upped their stock price, which we all care about because...
Yeah, money.
Money. What the real joy of video games? What sells and what doesn't? What's profitable?
They did release some sales numbers. I didn't include it, but
Well, of the current Switch.
Of the recent.
Do you want to
games.
guess what was number one?
Yeah, take a guess.
What number one game?
Yeah, sold.
Sales
Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. Again, Mario
Because
Kart
it's
8.
still like I bet if we go and check all of the game sales around the world, it'll still be in the top 10 of most countries.
Yeah,
because it never leaves.
I believe number 2 was Animal Crossing though, which surprised me.
Yeah.
Pandemic, Animal Crossing, it was huge. But yeah.
But still.
Hey, Mario Kart 8 released on the Wii U.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's been going for a long time.
People love it.
I mean, it is great, and I can't find my copy currently, so I may have to buy it again.
You're just going to contribute to those numbers.
Exactly. But, how many of these are people that lost it because the carts are too small and delicious?
But I'm just so glad that we're not going to have to go through a time period where we are constantly waiting, like time and time again, for them just to announce that they're going to put out Ocarina of Time again. It's like I'm so sick of that. Every time there's a new Nintendo generation, it's like Ocarina of Time's going to come out. Just when?
Like, I would be probably quite unpopular in just saying that I've played Ocarina. I get there's new games.
Yeah, but
I played the new games.
I like it when I can just press a button and it's on the thing that I've currently got in my hands.
Yeah, for a long time, I tried to keep all of my digital game collection like on my things until I realized that was madness, and most things never get played again. So it's nice to be able to revisit things. Unfortunately, that gets harder and harder as we lose rights to archive things, as was happening recently in the US. But don't worry, the people doing it legally can still do it, so we'll be fine. I think I mentioned to you when you were putting up the news, Proximate coming out in 2 days. Or Proximate, probably. It's by Cain. What's Cain's last name? Something. It's a good name. I saw him. I saw him last year down at Parallels before PAX Australia, and very, very charming fella. But his game is a first-person horror game that's only text, because you're wearing like an AR visor, and it doesn't want you to so it just describes what's in front of you. So it's like, oh look, don't worry, there's nothing in here, there's just a leg, and we'll just call it lasagna on the ground. So yeah, it's very funny, very unique, and yeah, comes out in a day. So I'm kind of hyped for that. I didn't know it was getting because last I saw it was just sort of a demo on itch. So I'm very excited to check that out.
Coming
yes,
out.
Cain Maddox. Yeah,
very cool.
Very talented
sick
person.
Name.
Yeah, it is. What a sick name. What a sicko. What a sick freak.
I'm sorry. Paul's opinions are his own, Cain Maddox.
It's true.
The rest of us can be your friend. But not Paul.
I wish I was their friend. And also this week's been running SAVE&SOUND, a festival for music and audio in video games. So it also has like a Steam page dedicated to as well. So lots of soundtracks for sale and games for sale. But also each day it's like a 5-hour stream, which is just composers and audio designers back to back, lots of live performances and discussing their craft. So if you're into video game audio, which we generally are, it's worth checking out, and it'll all stay up. It's not like it's live. So. And
how many times have you listened to heard a track from a video game, and that's immediately sold you, and I'm going to try this out? There's definitely a few times where for me personally, like hearing a certain soundtrack has just been like, what is this? This is like intriguing. This is fun, or this is high energy. I can visualize how this is going to relate to action.
Unique soundtrack can take like a pretty good game to amazing.
I think I was talking about it just before. Tears of Metal was one, and it's like folk bagpipes and everything, but then with metal over the top, and it's like a Dynasty Warriors style game. Like, yeah, I'm down. So, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Fortitude Valley's Netherworld presents Lost Souls Karaoke. Sing for your soul in one of 5 private air-conditioned karaoke realms newly unearthed within the bar, arcade, and diner. Book a room and put your soul on the line from Tuesday to Sunday via LostSoulsKaraoke.com. Netherworld and Lost Souls Karaoke are proud sponsors of 4ZZZ.
Welcome back.
That's spooky.
That was last week.
What was that, Maylee?
I was just sad because I missed out on the Halloween episode last week. I was sick.
Totally sick.
Yeah. Radical.
Fully sick. Yeah.
Speaking of radical things, you have some thoughts to share?
Yes. Meow, 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 meow. But probably some other thoughts.
All this week from ZedGames here on 4ZZZ.
Oh, good. We are going to do a review of sorts. Yes, I am here to talk to you about the game Indica. It's everyone's favorite genre, the power fantasy of being a nun. That's right. Get ready for religion, politics, the patriarchy, sexual politics. Oh, coming right at you.
I'm excited.
This is by developer Oddmeter. And Indica, I'm catching up on the games I missed out on earlier in the year. When I first saw this, I thought, I don't know if I've got the time to dedicate to like some hardcore nun RPG. Not what I then got into. So yes, you play the titular Indica, and you are a nun in a alternative history Russia, and you have been put in a nunnery, and this game won me over immediately because the first thing that comes up is a score. You've got like 390,000 out of the next one, and then you you get a few points and you level up. And like, I'm going to put my experience points into. Should I put it into guilt or maybe some humility? I can get a 0.1% bonus if I put it into being humble.
So you weren't actually kidding when you said nun RPG?
No, you're a nun.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It is not an RPG though. It is not an RPG. Indica is more. It's a lot of people have likened it to like an A24 horror film.
That's the vibe I got from the trailer.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the Steam page, and it's a surreal puzzle, third-person horror, story-rich adventure.
So it is a very linear narrative game. Lots of walking simulator, walk and talk in it. So you're like, well, why isn't it an A24 film? Or why is it a game? Well, it actually uses the gameplay and being a game as core thematics to the story it's telling. That point thing that I'm talking about comes up in lots of things. One of the things the game constantly tells you is that the points don't matter, but being gamers,
you're going to go for the
we're going to go get those
points.
We're going to get them points anyway. And without going too far into that thought, that is a very strong core that goes through this. So yes, Indica is disliked in the nunnery. She is basically, they hate her. For reasons you'll kind of find out. And they kick her out without her knowledge. They just sort of like, okay, go do this mission, get out of here. And on that mission, she meets a man who is an escaped prisoner who has a rotting arm. And he should be dead, but he believes he is not because he's on a mission from God. And you two join up and you go on your adventure together. It is wildly surrealist. It has sort of, it loves to cut into like a wide angle lens, like a Yorgos Lanthimos sort of extreme close up with everything going wild. It's mostly third person, except in flashbacks, it's a pixel art sort of RPG. And puzzle game and platformer. And then it plays with the perspective more, and it's always done one, for style, it does look good, but very much every time those shifts are there, it's thematic, which is really, really cool. The world itself is realistic, and then you start noticing things like why in the nunnery is there a giant goat, and later on you're going through a fish canning facility and the fish are literally 15 meters tall, and then the big ones come out.
Okay, so there's like some abstract reality.
So it really plays like the flaws of the game sort of become just with some of the game stuff. Like there's a few scenes of being chased, which is just kind of like trial and error. They're not necessarily that exciting, but they're also not in the way. And oddly enough, sometimes they really just want to chuck in a puzzle, and they're good, they're fine, they're solid. But also I'm like, meh, I didn't really need a puzzle. It was fine. I want to find out what goes on with this weird relationship. And without, obviously, I don't want to go into that because that is the entire joy of the game. It's a very complete story. It's told very effectively, with a few twists and turns, and probably the biggest sort of gameplay mechanic, you have somewhat of a demon inside you.
Okay.
And at certain points, reality will break. So the world will shift apart. And then that becomes a bit more game-like because you can pray, and as you pray, the world comes back together.
So do narrative changes happen if you decide not to pray?
No,
there are encouraged.
There is no splitting in the game. It is just its story. It's telling you this story. You can't deviate from it. If you try to, it'll just force you back on quite naturally. But yeah, it's so stylish and just well told, and it's like a 4-hour runtime. It is just like a longish movie, and yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed my time with it, and yes, and stylish as well, and the soundtrack is bonkers. Which is I actually bought the soundtrack when the game came out, and I only just got the game this last 2 weeks. Yeah, it is not what you expect for a just after World War I story about a nun. Yeah.
And what did you play this on?
I played this on PC. Actually, you know how I said I fell in love with it with that first score thing? A second one made me fall in love with it early. This is pre-title, by the way. Okay. So it's very, very early in the game. You're told to go fetch some water. You go to the well, wind down the bucket, wind up the bucket, put it in your bucket, take it over to the big barrel where you're going to put it. And what's going to happen, Tom?
There's a hole in your bucket.
Nope. Little thing pops up. 1 of 5.
Oh. yeah.
And then comes in an awesome voiceover discussion about the nature of this work and everything. That's great. But just seeing that just made me laugh so hard. And if you find that funny, you're on the right track. And if you think it's pretentious, move on.
Very quick, important question.
Yes.
Are there any Steam achievements for this game?
Yes.
And
yes, I
do any
are.
of them reference Sister Act at all?
Not that I've noticed, but I do tend to ignore Steam achievements because they can be
spoilers?
Really spoiler and invasive.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was at least one in there that was a good joke, but I can't remember what it was.
Probably referencing the horror movie The Nun rather than Sister Act.
I feel like Sister Act would be more likely to be referenced than The Nun.
I would bet
it's held in higher prestige.
I'd bet you $2 that there's an achievement called Back in the Habit.
Okay, we'll look that one up while we check that.
I will say, it seems like the description on Steam is maybe has a spoiler. I don't know. Something.
You can check with me after if you're worried about it. Yeah.
It does not have the achievement that you said. It does have a sisterly love achievement, and it does have like shooting fish in a barrel.
Maybe I need to rewatch Sister Act 1 and 2.
Water.
That could be referenced in those movies.
Yeah.
Maybe. Delightful little nun adventure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I might check this out. This sounds like a fun time. Or interesting time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's very, the whole story very serious, but I laughed a lot too, because it is right. As long as if you are somewhat sensitive to things critical of religion, maybe steer clear. Otherwise, it's a good yarn.
You're listening to ZedGames at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to ZedGames on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to ZedGames at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
Welcome back to ZedGames.
It's good to be back.
We're trying to be peaceful here.
Yeah.
I
didn't do it on mic. It probably barely got picked up.
I'll be the judge of that. Hyping you up because I'm here to talk about Frostpunk 2.
Frostpunk Duo.
Dos?
Tres. No, not yet.
I can't think of any more ways to say two.
Aye.
What a great game to review. That's what heading into summer. A nice cold, refreshing game.
Gosh. Maybe that's what I'll do in summer. I'll put on my aircon and ignore the 40-degree day and just play Frostpunk 2.
Not Frostpunk 1?
Well, maybe a bit of both, because they have quite different things to offer, but let's get into it. So the original Frostpunk is one of my favorite games. I have quite a lot of hours in it, and I love it. I've played through it several times. So when I found out it was getting a sequel, I was on board. Hell yeah. And the developers, 11-Bit Studios, they also were the publishers of
Indica.
Oh, yeah. It's their night.
Yeah. Let's get some more 11-bit. I'll quickly play something else while you do this.
They got some good games.
11-bit on 7-Eleven. There you go.
It's all coming together. They were pretty clear from the start and open with everyone that they weren't going to make a copy of Frostpunk. They wanted to make a game that expanded upon the world and did new, daring things. And I'm like, yeah, what's not to love? They're going to explore the world more. And surely it can't be that different, right? Well, no. I think they did pull it off in a way that I got to take my hat off to them for that. They did make a different game. So I set out with the intention of, when writing this review, that I wouldn't be like comparing it a lot, because I like to have games stand on their own, but that's not going to happen too much, because I think Frostpunk 2's biggest issue is that it is in the shadow of Frostpunk 1. So it takes place 30 years after the original and is bigger in almost every way. The resilient new London settlement that you founded in the original game has grown into a thriving metropolis, and you, the steward, are responsible for guiding its tens of thousands of citizens.
Okay, so much bigger scale then.
Yeah. I think in one of those games you had like 60 people the whole time, and at most I never cracked 500.
Wow. So a lot of growth has gone by in those 30 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
People are doing... And it's good. Humanity's surviving. We love that for them. But with so many people in one place, they've splintered into factions with different values and ideas about what the city should be doing with its future. In the council hall, representatives of these factions vote on every law that you want to enact in the city. So you can't just declare this is what's going to happen. You have to win over people, because you need a majority to pass. You can win their votes with promises and privileges, but the more you favor one faction, the more discontent grows within the others. And eventually that can reach a boiling point. It might seem easy at first to cater to everyone and strive for a balance, but you'll end up with a stagnant city, making no progress and no friends to rely on when things go bad. You need to choose the allies so that you have someone to get your back, but you need to choose wisely because there are some loonies.
Look, let's cut to the chase. What can we do to children in this game?
Can we banish them to work in the furnace?
Yeah. Well, yes. So it's a nicer city.
Okay. Well, obviously, because you're not fighting for survival at this point. It's more about the politics of.
So you're saying there's less exploitation of children in the sequel?
No.
Thank gosh.
I think
we want to keep our soul
more,
here. Oh, good.
Because again, we're talking about tens of thousands of people. So a lot.
I just mean
more
the quality
children.
of the abuse, not the.
Well, no. You can still send the children to the mines.
Thank gosh. This is the fantasy I'm there for.
You're a lot more separated from that grueling reality. Like the political management thing is the biggest difference to the original game, and it is the centerpiece of this game. They did it really well. It works really well, and I enjoyed it. But that's not all the game is about. It's a survival city builder game. So where's the survival? Where's the city building?
Where is the survival?
You're doing some real good hand acting at the moment.
Yeah, you guys are missing out on my hands.
Yeah, sort of quite frustrated. You can't quite get it out. I need to just do it with hands.
Well, I mean, surely a city would have a completely different set of threats to it than like a tiny settlement of people, right?
Yeah, well, yes. It does have more things that you need to manage, but I mean, the biggest two things that you need are the same. It's heat and food. And you just need them on far bigger levels. You also need the resources to expand the city because you're constantly growing, and you need the resources to upkeep, and people want like goods to buy. And if you aren't producing enough goods, there will be crime. You have to deal with crime rates in this game. There's so much. 11-bit studios put so much into this game, and they had so many ideas. And I love that, but I think it was too much because there was quite a lot of points where I was just lost. For example, you can't worry about individual buildings and individual people anymore. You're building districts. Like, this is a construction district, this is a housing district, this is a extraction district, and you're managing workforces of hundreds or thousands. This makes sense for a city that's a lot older and a lot bigger. Like, I can see why they did it, but it removed
the simple core concept of the original Frostpunk, where it's like, I'm very clear on what my goal is.
Yeah. And a more, like, the more people and a continuous population growth, because you often had refugees, and you also had to manage birth rates. So you could put in laws to get more birth rates or to get less. You could mandatory marriages. That's the best way. You just pair people up, say have babies. Yeah. That's a hard one to convince them to vote for, but
yeah, I wonder why.
So in the first game, every time someone got sick,
Tom Maylee, go.
Every time someone got sick or died, there was a direct impact. But in this game, people got sick by the hundreds, and I had so much going on that I didn't really pay attention. They either got healed up in the background or they died. And if they died, oh well, we'll get the population back within a few months. Like in the first game, 5 deaths was devastating. And in this game, all I got was pop-ups of 500 people have died in the mines.
That further step removal is kind of devastating and meaningful in its own as well. It's like 5 deaths is meaningful, 1,000 deaths is a statistic.
Well, yeah, it's nice when you look at it like that, but it felt like, yes, but it removed the... Frostpunk likes to center these moral choices in its game, and it really removed any care.
I mean, when it's, that sort of size, I don't know, maybe you can't get attached to the individuals as much as you can.
I guess, but I wanted to. Well, I wanted to see the faces of the orphans that I sent into the mines.
It would be nice if it's like you've got this macro view and it's like, but allow you to go into a microview. And you're like, oh no, you can still click on Timmy. You can see Timmy's hopes and dreams. Oh, he's got gangrene. Watch out.
Yep. So
Timmy's gone, Maylee.
Yeah, it's
all because you
want to be able to
mines.
find.
That's what Frostpunk 1 gave me. I loved that.
The guilt.
Well,
it's what fuels you.
Yeah.
I mean, Frostpunk 1's still around. It's not like it's gone.
No, that's true. And I will replay it at some point. But this game has a lot of good things. It just has maybe too much. Maybe too much and too broad of a scale, because you're managing the people and the resources and disease and pollution, and then there's the political stuff going on and the technology. So much. But
and there's the whole cooking thing they've got in there.
There's
so
no cooking
all the recipe components
you're
you've got to pick up on.
Spreading lies. Why would you do that? Why would you
so
spread
many
lies?
games just add cooking these days.
I like cooking. That would have been a point in its favor. But while the mechanics leave some things to be desired, while the gameplay, it does do an amazing job of capturing and improving upon the vibes. The Frostpunk vibes. The visuals are similar, but much grander. The city has a lot of depth to it, like it's layered, and the resources the buildings are made of look more futuristic, not modern, but futuristic. And there's grime on things to show that these buildings have been around for a long time. And the paths through the cities are these winding light tracks. It's really cool to look at. I think they did a great job there. The soundtrack also captures the tense, unforgiving, but kind of hopeful world that New London is. It's a good vibe. I like it. No notes really there.
Vibes on point.
Yeah, vibes on point.
Game too many.
So while
Your game has too many elements, please remove 3.
Yeah. While there are genuine flaws with this game, a lot of my issues came, and a lot of other people's issues that I've seen online, came down to that it wasn't the first game, because people love the first game. So I do think that if you haven't played the first Frostpunk, you probably would enjoy this game more than people who have. But I did play both, and I enjoyed both. And I actually I kind of am happy they did it this way, even though it's not what I wanted. I'm impressed that they took a risk and did something different. And they could have churned out a copy of the first game with some different scenarios, and I would have bought it and enjoyed it, but I like this. It's unique.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It sounds like instead of just giving you more Frostpunk, they gave you more of Frostpunk.
Yeah.
They took a chance. They had their chance and they took it. They didn't do it in half measures. I respect it. This is the Zardoz of games.
And my last point, because it's something that I haven't explored myself yet, but is something that I think could make a big impact, is in this game, from launch, they've added mod support. So you're going to have a lot of people maybe smoothing out some of those
turning it into
edges.
Frostpunk 1.
Well, you're going to have that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love a bit of Frostpunk. Good summer game. Cool down. Send some children to the mines.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
this summer, send some children to the mines.
You can also mandate classes, classes of people.
Oh, like a caste system. I thought it was like you say you were doing maths and then we're doing nationalism or something like that.
Get to study, but they can only study what their parents studied.
Oh.
It's a beautiful society.
It's logical. Purely logical.
Yeah, definitely. I'm Maylee.
I'm Paul.
I'm Tom.
And we are very low on time because I talked about Frostpunk for a long time. I wanted to shout out to Mac Prentice. I got your song request, but I was talking about Frostpunk and I ran out of time.
Plus,
I'm so sorry.
Maylee did a crime earlier.
What crime did I do?
We were talking about the weird music from Indica, and for some reason chose the most atmospheric, low-key song in the entire thing.
It's good.
Thought it was kind of a vibe. I liked the vibe. Okay?
If you imagine filling a bucket to that song, it's pretty good.
That'd be very good, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to go now, but I will leave you with...
bucket.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to ZedGames.
If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
Or find us on socials at ZedGames AU.
See you next time.